You're listening to DraftKings Network.
The 2025 NCAA March Madness Men's Tournament is back, and this time it is bringing all the feels. The biggest event in college sports tips off March 18th, and you don't want to miss a second of the heart-pumping action. Catch all the clutch shots, big-time plays, upsets, Cinderellas, Blue Bloods, and more. Tune in to the NCAA Men's Division I Basketball Championship March 18th through April 7th on TBS, CBS, TNT, True TV, and Stream on Max.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Hey, Taylor. Welcome to God Bless March Madness. Oh, it's so exciting. It's presented by Priceline. Dreaming about that trip? Book it and go to your happy price with Priceline.
Lucy, what I think happened is they looked into the shipping container. They saw Chris Cody, Mike Ryan, Billy Gill, and Jeremy Taché looking back at them. And was like, anybody else? Can anybody else talk college basketball? Dan doesn't know that I'm doing this. And I want to start off by saying, huge win for Carolina. First off, Joe Lunardi, Seth Davis, Seth Greenberg, John Fanta, John Rothstein, and every West Virginia government official dead to me. Lucy, it's been a brutal couple of days for West Virginia.
Yeah, they're not having a particularly good time. So it started Selection Sunday. I guess you could say it started in the Big 12 tournament, but Selection Sunday, West Virginia is left out in favor of Carolina, or at least that's the team they're kind of focusing on, the one that they were like, we deserve to be here more than Carolina does. So West Virginia is all levels of mad. And despite that, there were probably a lot more serious problems happening in that state. The governor was like, nope, this is not allowed. You have done it. You have waged war with the state of West Virginia. And so he comes out and is like, NCAA, it's coming for you. Good luck. Hope you're ready for it. Then we're going to destroy the selection committee. All of that is happening, and they have all their focus on destroying the NCAA that they have no idea that their head coach is out interviewing for other jobs as they speak. As they are taking down the NCAA, Darian DeVries is at Iowa, is at Indiana, having these conversations. Unfortunately, he picked wrong, chose the wrong choice. Excuse me, and decides to sign with Indiana and leaves. So West Virginia now has waged war with the NCAA. They're coachless. They're not in the NCAA tournament. They're not in the NIT. They declined the invite. So now things are bad. And just like a little cherry on top, the team that they focused on, that they were like, we're better than Carolina. Carolina in the first four beats the literal crap out of San Diego State, to the point where I had to turn it off because it felt excessive. I said, I don't want to watch this. Not safe for young viewers. It was such a beatdown.
Yeah, they cut it to 30, and it almost didn't tell the full story of how bad that game actually was. But West Virginia watching from home like everybody else, and I actually have a first-round game I'm most excited to watch. I'm going first game of the tournament, the 8-9 matchup. It is Louisville and Creighton. I can't figure out the disrespect the committee gave to Louisville because in the final AP poll...
I think you're pronouncing it wrong. I think it's
Louisville. You kind of just have to... Yeah. Louisville was an AP top 10 team, the final poll before the tournament. The committee gives them an 8 seed, implying that there's 28 teams better than them. Mike Malley was showing me this conspiracy on Twitter that he thinks people got Louisville and Memphis confused and they switched their seeds because Memphis is a 5 and all the metrics kind of support the opposite. But this Louisville team, really fun. They brought in Pat Kelsey from the College of Charleston. They have the Sun Belt.
He's weird.
Yeah,
I like him.
He's got weird energy, and he brought in the Sun Belt Player of the Year, Terrence Edwards Jr. from that James Madison team that pulled off the 5-12 upset of Wisconsin last year. Speaking of that Wisconsin team, they also brought in Chucky Hepburn from that Wisconsin team, who was a first-team All-ACC, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. And Stugotz always tells you when you get to March, it's all about experienced guard play. Louisville. Nobody has more experienced guard play than Louisville. But that Creighton-Louisville game, great way to kick off the tournament with two teams that have a legit case for feeling underseeded. With the women's tournament, what can you tell us about the drama that they had with the unveiling of their bracket?
I don't know if there's ever been a tournament release where so many coaches have been upset about 1 seeds, which I know it's only 2 out of the 4, but that's a high number that it's happened twice. Usually people are pretty pleased to be a 1 seed. So it started with UCLA getting the number 1 overall seed. They only have 2 losses on the year to USC both times. And then South Carolina got the 2nd overall seed. So Don Saley was super, super upset, saying that South Carolina deserved the number 1 overall seed. Eye test, she's absolutely right. Correct. What South Carolina did after that UConn loss, which was awful. It was a terrible loss. I haven't seen South Carolina lose like that in a very long time. They've completely turned it around. They are playing like the best team in the country. And then you saw that in the SEC championship where Texas didn't stand a chance. It was all South Carolina the entire time. So Dawn Staley comes out and she's like, we should be the number 1 overall seed. This is messed up. And then she kind of pulled a little bit what Alabama did when they were left out of the playoff and was like, we're not going to schedule tough teams anymore if we're not going to be rewarded for that. Which I was like, okay. And I do agree that South Carolina is the best team in this field. They probably should have been the number 1 overall seed. However, UCLA was the number 1 overall seed. UCLA has a head-to-head win over South Carolina. And when they have a head-to-head win over a team, you're like, oh, girl, I think you're right, but they do have a head-to-head win over you, and it's hard to argue with that. And so I do think it's totally valid. I think they're the best team in the tournament. I think they're going to win the whole thing this year, especially because I think that Dawn Staley definitely believes her team is the best overall team in this field. I think she's doing a little bit of the Kirby Smart thing, Everybody's doubting you. They didn't even think you were the best team in the country. No one believes in you, South Carolina women's basketball. And so now that there's somewhat of a chip on the shoulder for South Carolina, I think it's pretty much over for everybody else. At the same time, USC, the other one, the one in California, they were like, we don't like our number 1 seed. I think this one's a little bit more valid, especially because USC leads the series against UCLA 2-1. And the first 2 times they played, USC was really dominant over UCLA in a way that's made me kind of nervous about UCLA's tournament chances. And so USC got the 4th overall highest seed, which just doesn't really sit right when they have those head-to-head wins over UCLA. I understand that UCLA beat them in the Big Ten championship game, but that game was dominated by USC for a large chunk of it. UCLA just came back and kind of had one of those moments. And so what's really upsetting is that USC got UConn as the 2 seed in their region. And nobody, every 2 seed is good, but UConn is a particularly good 2 seed. As we talked about just a little bit ago, UConn beat the brakes off South Carolina. This is not your average 2 seed. And so the fans are super upset because it's Juju Page is a matchup you get in the Final Four, not the Elite 8. So USC is unhappy about their seeding. The other USC is unhappy about their seeding. Texas and UCLA, pretty quiet. They seem to be pleased with everything.
Someone in my ear just said that Dan found out about this and he wants me out of the studio immediately. So I'll leave with one final stat. In the first 13 NCAA men's basketball tournaments that have featured the first 4, at least one first 4 team has survived until the round of 32 in all but one of those seasons. So if you're looking for that first 4 team that will most likely advance past Thursday and Friday, all bias aside, it's got to be North Carolina.
Don't you have work to do?
All right, I know I got to do this ad read, but hold on. Let me reapply. Did you hear that? Yep, that's my new favorite lip gloss from NYX Cosmetics. Now I'm ready to talk to you. I've been a huge fan of NYX Cosmetics for many years now. In fact, I use their Thick It, Stick It brow gel every single day. So you can imagine my excitement when we recently received a special delivery to the Batard studios from our friends over at NYX Cosmetics. And there it was. When I opened the box, glowing, I heard the angels sing, ah. It's their latest lip gloss fat oil lip drip. It's NYX Cosmetics' first lip oil of its kind. This creamy lip oil will have your lips dripping with fat perks. You get all the shine of a lip gloss and none of the stickiness while experiencing 12-hour hydration. I'm usually a matte lip gloss kind of gal. My normal go-to is NYX Cosmetics lip gloss, the Lingerie XXL. But after applying the status update shade, I have found my new go-to lip gloss. Fat Oil Lip Drip has high shine finish with comfortable wear and none of the sticky texture. A lip product that's hydrating, non-sticky, and only $9? Now that's a win. Try Fat Oil Lip Drip from NYX Professional Makeup. Available in 14 universally flattering shades. Find your perfect Fat Oil Lip Drip. Shop now at nyxcosmetics.com or a retailer near you.
I, for one, am someone that can struggle with technology, even though I've been raised in the age of technology. Do you ever feel overwhelmed trying to manage your web hosting while juggling a million other tasks? Even if tech isn't your thing, Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting is a relief. Their expert team handles it all. They've bundled up all the essentials to make sites stress-free with speeds that'll wow your visitors, security that never sleeps, and a dashboard so intuitive, you'll wonder why everything isn't this easy. And when you hit a snag, you'll talk to real humans 24/7, 365. Actual people who get it, not AI chatbots, which is a rarity these days, seemingly. Kinsta will give you peace of mind and let you focus on your business rather than dealing with technical issues. For us, that means more time watching the games and getting you the best takes possible without having to worry about troubleshooting tech issues. Tired of being your own website support team? Switch your hosting to Kinsta and get your first month free. And don't worry about the move. They'll handle the whole transition for you. No tech expertise required. Just visit kinsta.com/Dan to get started. That's KINSTA.com/Dan.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Ryan, and how great is this weather? We're getting out of the coldest part of winter into the early on-stage spring. I know down south, the weather is perfect. It is perfect Miller time weather. You got MLB, MLS, you got NHL, you got all the sports going on, plenty of excuses to gather around a TV and have yourself a wonderful Miller time, thanks to Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people like you and me who love beer. Now is a perfect time for friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. With taste that you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks. I hate gimmicks. Just a great beer for people who like beer. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers because it has simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color. At just 96 calories and 3.2 grams per 12 ounces, Miller time is always a good time. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
It's a 3. The crowd goes into a delusion. Winning in the playoffs, not an illusion. It's a heat check, he's on fire.
Stugotz.
Carry us, Jalen Brunson. Comes up clutch, that's why we won. New York knows you are the best. Not the joke no more.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Les Taylor. Just less.
He killed it. More.
The show?
He's been right about a lot, and he knows ball. Everyone knows that about Taylor. And this is March, last I checked. Taylor! They told us the SEC was 10 bits better than the ACC! Why do they keep doing this?
Who could have seen Texas, the team that was 8-13 since January 1st, losing? Who could have possibly seen that coming?
Talk your shit, Taylor!
6-12 in the conference. Texas was.
Ooh, give him that stat. No, give him that stat that you gave me.
I have to get my phone out. Dan, stall for me.
I love Mike claiming UNC as a win for Miami, seemingly.
Oh, no, ACC. They do this every year. And sometimes it's Miami carrying them, sometimes it's NC. It's the bad teams that carry them.
You can catch Zaslow on ESPN Radio, and something that I've noticed, I noticed it this morning when I was downstairs, that on ESPN, one of the anchors on ESPN I did not recognize. That happens a lot to me, but looked extraordinarily young to me. And the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is if the highlight show is endangered and if the sports anchor is endangered, because we have sports that we consume through highlights. The casual fan observes through highlights, the NBA chief among them. But observing it on highlights on your phone or through your social media is different than having to go to your television. And I assume, I don't assume, I actually know that throughout the industry, everyone's being asked to take pay cuts because media is shrinking, media is in trouble, and there are fewer jobs in general than there used to be. And as a practice, ESPN makes sure that the four letters are the thing that matters the most and that other parts are interchangeable or disposable. I think Scott Van Pelt is so popular that ESPN will continue to pay him. But I also know that if ESPN lost Scott Van Pelt, it wouldn't be some sort of seismic thing just because, in general, the sports anchor is less valuable throughout everywhere in television than he or she has been almost the entirety of my lifetime.
Well, that part is go ahead. I'm sorry, Roy.
Well, I don't think we're losing the highlight show. I mean, SportsCenter is getting expanded out to Disney Plus with Gary Streisky and Randy Scott.
Those are the best two doing it in terms of chemistry with each other right now. I know like Linda Cohn's still doing it, and there are still like
they're the new guys.
They are
like, they're
together.
They're
chemistry.
the new big show. You know, instead of Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann, it's Gary Streisky and Randy Scott, and they're fantastic. But I feel like one of the big complaints that viewers have with ESPN television these days is that they want more SportsCenter. They want more highlight shows, that they miss that part. You know, the same way that, you get older people say MTV, oh, why don't they have videos anymore? I feel like we're in that place with ESPN where they want more SportsCenter. And Scott Van Pelt, by the way, I think you're wrong about that part because that show is pretty damn important. Mm-hmm. He gets amazing guests after all the big games, be it, if it's college football game or if it's NBA or even if it's, for the next year, Major League Baseball. He gets the great guests on the field, on the court right after the game. That show's pretty popular. Yeah. I think you're wrong about the Scott Van Pelt part.
And it fixed a ratings issue with the that time slot SportsCenter. I read a think piece that actually said stop thinking of him as a sports anchor, start thinking of him as a late night talk show host because his ratings kind of command that a little bit. You need to start. Yeah, well, that is good spin from the agent trying to get
incredible spin.
No, this is my price range. I'm more like Jon Stewart price range than Randy Scott price range. But that you should absolutely think of him as a nighttime host because he's emceeing an evening talk show.
I actually found that stat.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Since 2015 in the NCAA tournament, wins above seed expectation, the ACC, 21.1, the most of any conference. SEC, minus 4.6. Overrated.
Jeremy just whispered to me, is this what it feels like when I talk?
Is it that bad?
You're less nervous.
But you don't have the accompanying visual aid of popping out from under Mike Ryan.
That is endearing.
The Scott Van Pelt thing, just to clarify, okay, because I want to make sure people understand this. I mean it as no indictment as Scott Van Pelt. He's as good as anyone who has ever done that. I'm just saying the construct of what it is these things are. It makes it so that kind of personality is less important than he or she has ever been. And the movement throughout the industry seems to be that it doesn't matter who the anchors are. You guys are telling me that there's a new big show because Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann changed television, but they were also at the center of bucking up against ESPN on ESPN wanted them to change television, but wanted ESPN to get the credit for changing television, not any individual to have the personal power to be able to do anything that harms those letters if they leave. In fact, I would say that one of the chief forms of leadership at ESPN has been simply to make sure that no one else establishes the precedent of being more important than the other folks on the network. It's
We
important.
experience that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say that just in general, it's not even a bad thing to do as a business because it's one way to keep costs down. So I like that late show. I like Scott Van Pelt as a personality, but I don't believe that if I suddenly took Scott Van Pelt off of that and did a form of the same show, that the larger entity of ESPN would be harmed any more than it's already harmed by whatever it is that you think the defections or the loss of quality is.
You're getting buy-in from Chris here, but the ratings speak for themselves. Like when he took over, he saved that show that was in freefall, and he's built an audience. So I guess in the hypothetical, I would agree with you, but I have real-life examples and data that backs up that he matters.
I think it's on the crawl right now on ESPN. Dan Le Batard says Scott Van Pelt, not important.
Not what I said, not what I would ever say. I would say that if ESPN chooses to make its midnight flagship something that it's pouring all of its resources in, because one of the things you guys just said is, he's got the greatest guest. That has nothing to do with Scott Van Pelt.
Partnerships with leagues.
Like that Scott Van Pelt is being put in a good position to have maximum support and resources and do that better than most people have ever done it.
But the way that he's created moments in these interviews and relationships with the people that he's interviewing makes it so that the people who are being interviewed actually want to participate, because we've seen, we see it on regional sports broadcasts, we see it during games in between
it's not
quarters.
just, hey, you're
nobody
about
wants
to be
to
on
talk
with so-and-so. It's
right.
like, all right, I'm going on with Scott Van Pelt.
It's Scott Van Pelt, and that matters. And I don't know that Stephen A. included, I don't know that there's another personality at ESPN that could be hosting that particular show at that particular time that would be able to have the viewership, comfort with the athletes, and ability to be serious and joke around the way that SVP does. He's a singular talent at that network right now.
Wow, that's something to say there, even as I admire all of his
Why did
gifts.
they show my fist pump?
He
made a good point. You got to.
That's an excellent point because
it's a good point. Okay.
He can be humorous, but like, say there was something tragic, God forbid, something tragic happens in sports. ESPN's putting a call in.
I think he's a trusted guy now on
They're bringing
television.
in SVP, and he's going to anchor that coverage.
Yeah, I think so.
Got a couple of top 5 lists for you here on college basketball-related content. What are you shrugging your shoulders about here,
I'm saying
Tony?
finally, Dan, we got 47 games in the next 2 days. We've talked zero. Zilch.
I thought you wanted mine. I got one too.
We did a Sunday show that was not zero zilch. We did
That was last week,
3
though.
hours on Sunday to talk about the tournament.
I saw.
Is Sunday last week? Is Sunday night last week?
Starts the week, right?
It starts the week.
To me, it was last week.
But it is also
But it ends the week.
It's called the 7th day, but I don't know.
No, Sunday is the end of last week.
That's
Sunday
the
is not
beginning
this
of
week.
Well, no, that's how
it's
it feels.
Technically the beginning of a
So
week.
calendar-wise,
Look at the calendar.
I mean, you
Seventh
got to
day
look at
and
the
all that
calendar.
stuff,
Yeah.
but no, it
was
starts
this
the
week.
week.
Like biblically, maybe.
New week
Yeah.
start on Sunday.
Put it on the poll, Juju.
Seventh.
Is Sunday the end of last week or the beginning of this week at Le Batard
Or
Show?
both.
This one's going to be hotly contested,
I
even
don't
though there
think
is
so.
a legitimate right answer.
No, I think you say the calendar, and I'm saying what's going
last
to
week,
come back
Daniel.
on this poll is that Sunday was last week, that Monday is the beginning of the week, that when your work week starts, that's the beginning of the week. I don't care what the calendar says. Your boss says get to work. Monday's the beginning of the week. Your boss overtakes the calendar and all of time history to say that Monday is the beginning of the week.
And God.
That's generally the sentiment during these times. So I don't care what the fact is. I'm going off the gut.
No, I'm polling is what I'm
Well, no,
asking.
I'm going off the boss.
I'm making it a democracy on the internet. That's what I'm asking you, and I'm just asking. That's a good poll question. And wait till you get shocked by everyone's
how we
going to
like to
say
settle
Monday.
facts.
Everyone's going to get this one wrong, even though you say the fact is this. Everyone's going to go with not the fact. Let's go first to Chris's top 5 list. What is your top 5 list? What is the subject matter?
I am ranking Sports Thursdays. Top 5 Thursdays on the sports calendar.
All right. Any OLIs here, or just
no OLIs.
All right. So are there 5 great sports Thursdays, Zaslow? I don't think that's why there are no OLIs, because
I could think of. I think there's some. I think you can. Yeah.
You think you can come up with 6?
Well, should I give a few right at the top of my head? Or
No, you
wait?
can't ruin his
You'll
list.
undercut my entire list.
There are only 5.
ahead.
and I don't know
Slim
how.
pickings already.
I'm not totally sure how he's going to get to 5.
You better not leave any of mine off.
Well, I don't think there are 6. So let's see what his number 5 is.
Number 5 is Thanksgiving. Nice. Football, 3 football games.
You got 4 better than that?
I do. Number 4, opening night, NFL, week 1. So it's last few years, it's been Thursday night.
Hall of Fame game?
Number 3, NFL draft, round 1.
So it's all football.
Thursday night.
You got that better than the first game of the NFL season?
Something about the draft. Yeah, because my team's usually not playing. It's like Bills, Chiefs. Like, I like it.
Well,
but the draft, everyone's got hope.
Your team is never playing because it's the defending champion. It's kicking off. But, actually not true. They got to play another team than the Culpepper.
It's never the Dolphins,
game.
though.
Yeah.
Number 2, today, March Madness, Thursday. 12:15, Creighton, Louisville.
I think I know number 1.
Yeah, we all do.
Number 1, Masters Thursday.
That was pretty easy what he just did. That was like nothing.
Yeah.
Do you have a 6th one?
No. I probably would have had trouble coming up with 5 because I would not have had the NFL draft there.
Jeremy tried to make the argument for MLB opening day.
Regular.
It falls on a Thursday.
Regular opening day.
It's not. No.
It fell on. It's 6 a.m. on a Thursday.
Well, it's
next Thursday.
It's technically next Thursday.
Sandy versus Skeens, Dan.
Next Thursday. Okay, so that not the fake opening day, the real opening day.
Yeah.
Okay, and Tony's top 5 list is just 5 players to watch.
No. Don't do that to it. Don't diminish what we're doing here, okay? The NCAA tournament, everybody on the planet will be watching this. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people on the planet will be watching
I'm
this.
building
Chris?
out a DK lineup. I'm watching this one.
And Tony's top 5 right here is sponsored by Jimmy John's. They're finally here, and they're hot. Try the new toasted sandwiches at Jimmy John's. Order one today.
So, Dan, what we're going to be doing is the top 5 guys you need to be watching during this NCAA tournament, right?
Which is different from what I said.
Yes, completely different from what you said. I don't know what you said, but I didn't like it.
Okay, it didn't sound like you liked it. And not everyone is going to be watching the tournament, not even most people. And you say a lot of people are going to be watching. But when it comes to Earth, it's not even a lot of people. But continue.
The gamblers will be watching. That's
Yes.
what's most important. The gamblers will be watching and taking note of, again, these top 5s.
Well, there isn't, like, I saw John Oliver do a piece last week on sports betting, and one of the things that he did was point out, among other things, that people are betting on ping pong and betting on ping pong in Poland. Right now, what we're talking about today in college basketball, there's nothing quite like this when it comes to gambling, which is a whole lot of people gambling on something that they know very little about while doing it, because it's just sports is happening, and on my television, what I'm tuning in for is just action with my money. It's not necessarily that I care about St. Mary's or Virginia Commonwealth or know anything about the participants.
It's the most reckless you could possibly be with money. That's NCAA tournament and gambling on it, right?
I don't think it's the most reckless you
There's
can
a
be
lot of
in
other
life.
things you can do.
You're gambling your money on something you know nothing about.
It is often the case. It's not the case for everybody, but in terms of concentrated, I don't think there's anything like these 2 rounds here at the beginning where you're just inundated with action all over the place. It's just what
Olympics were pretty good. That was a rush.
See, now I don't think of that as the gambling event that this is.
It never was until this year, because the coverage is so much better now today than it's ever been, that you can legitimately follow everything. And the Olympics, while you have your niche sports that I would readily admit I know nothing about, it's also like the second best international women's soccer competition, and you get to actually watch all these games, and there's action going on literally all day. That was a sports betting equinox that I hadn't quite experienced, and it's on a par with March Madness.
Do any of you feel some of the dirty that you feel at the NFL Sundays at the end of the day, where you've just been in your house watching something on the couch or in a
Dirty
bar?
because like you're a sloth?
Yeah, just
yeah, that's what the next couple
it's
days
too
are gonna
much.
Be. Yeah.
That 10 hours.
Oh, it's not too much, but yeah.
Well, if you feel dirty, it's probably because it is too much.
No, it's not, I feel dirty, but it's not too much. Like, the dirt's worth it. I feel gross. I've been sitting on my couch all day. The food, the drinking. But at the end, I may feel like a sloth, but I'm like, this was a great day. I like I enjoyed the whole day, and you know what? I'm going to do it again when I wake up tomorrow.
I have not been to Vegas on Super Bowl Sunday, so I don't know if there's anything that compares to what is presently going to happen in Vegas as soon as this thing kicks off. But in terms of a sports thing, the two things that I have felt that are strongest in Vegas is heavyweight fight when that mattered and you had a heavyweight champion that people cared about, and what this week is in the sports books, because it's just
and 9 a.m. over there.
Oh, it's insane.
You know how time zones work? It's 9 a.m. there.
I wasn't there for the first round, but I was there for a Sweet 16 once, and that was as electric as I've ever been in terms of
Even though it's just
like
one game at a
sports book.
time by the Sweet 16, right?
It's still like there is so much action. It is a palpable buzz that you feel in the sports book on Sweet 16 day.
OLI, Tony.
By the way, putting this out there, Tony Brackett's maybe live from Vegas for the first day of the tourney next year. Okay,
Tony Brackett.
I'm just putting it out there. All right, cool, perfect. All right, Dan, top 5 guys you need to be watching in the tournament. And again, it's a list of all guards because guards rule March. That's what we do here with Tony Brackett. We're going to start in the OLI. 2 OLIs that you need to be watching. Number 1, from the Big Sky, the Grizzlies of Montana, Money Williams. Great name. We want him to be great just based on his name.
That's
right?
not a real name, is it?
His name is Money Williams, Dan. And he had a 30-burger against Tennessee earlier this season, had 36 against Portland State to open up March. Montana lost both games. That's not the point.
Is his name actually Money? It's got to be a nickname. Did his parents named him Money? You don't know.
His mama called him Money. I'm going to call him Money.
I'm not sure his mama calls him Money, but okay.
Mike, look that up for me.
I'm building out my DK.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, second OLI. This name you may have heard. Jace Richardson from Michigan State. Lefty guard combo, a little undersized, but the son of Jason Richardson. Good crafty guard, has a nice little shot. Really came on in the second half of the year. Tom Izzo always has the boys ready in March. Jace Richardson, a name you need to be watching.
Is he a Columbus guy?
No.
He has a chance to shoot up draft boards, too, with this March Madness, because he's one of the top prospects, but late in the season, he's really gotten a lot of buzz.
Starting to play a lot more now in the back half of the season. Izzo gave him the reins to the Sparties, and they've been playing really well. All right, starting off, number 5.
I don't think anyone calls them the Sparties.
Sparties?
I think
just Sparty.
I think you're doing that, and my father.
It's a
would
Cuban
do that.
thing, yeah, sorry. Number 5, Con Knuppel. Do you know where Con Knuppel plays?
I like saying that name, Con Knuppel.
Brother, I know ball. Jace Richardson went to Columbus. He was a Columbus guy. Jay Rich's son. He was a Columbus guy.
Oh.
Money Williams' dad is named Money, and one of his sisters is named Monet. There's an apostrophe in there.
Great contribution.
That is good. That's excellent work. I remember I remember somebody at Sports Illustrated. There was a wide receiver named, I think, Marte Jenkins, and he was saying that the difference between Marty and Marte is the difference between a party and a partay.
Is there an apostrophe in there?
Go ahead, Tony.
Con Knuppel, the other white guy at Duke, for those of you not following along in the NCAA. He's a freshman, 5-star guy who's now starting to come into lottery draft boards as a guy who could be maybe a top 10 pick. Very tough inside, got a good shot, but another white guy at Duke. This Duke team is really good, by the way, so watch out for Con Knuppel.
And as we established yesterday, the magic secret sauce of
White
March
guys.
Madness. White guys.
Backdoor
Okay.
cuts.
How many? Okay, but we already did Con Knuppel. Where are we on
No,
this?
I know. I'm just kidding. I
he's
didn't
a
give
white
you the
guy.
He's
example.
giving you a paragraph.
Just
and he's
highlighting part of the
Okay,
secret
well,
sauce.
wait a minute. Chris isn't supporting what's happening here because Chris muttered, I don't think this was on the air. I think it was just to be.
Rolled his eyes
Well,
at
he
one
didn't
point.
just roll his eyes. What I heard in my ears is him saying, great, a stat on every guy.
We're getting like full box scores on OLIs. I mean,
Excuse me. We got the Money Monet thing. That was a great contribution. That doesn't exist without this incredible top 5.
Number 4, John Tonje. Wisconsin guard, averages almost 20 points a game, scored 25 points or more in 8 games this season, can light it up, scored 41 against Arizona. Good little shot, can create his own Zazzle. I know you like guards that can do that.
I'm big on being able to create your own junk shot. make
Enforceable.
junk shot.
It's
yeah.
super important.
Yeah.
you always have been.
Yeah.
Number 3,
It's one of the things I'm known for.
can you create your own shot?
Not anymore.
I did an intramural with those terry
No, I
cloth
know.
shorts.
I know,
You should have
I know.
You should have seen me crossing people over. Old terry cloth.
Number 3, Chaz Lanier. Tennessee guard transferred from North Florida. 18 points a game. SEC Newcomer of the Year, taking the same path as Dalton Knecht last year. Small school, got up to Tennessee, Coach Rick Barnes and them boys. All of a sudden, Chaz Lanier, the next evolution of that guard that can light it up. Hopefully, Tennessee can make a run. Mike can have the podcast with Coach on, on Gearhead podcast.
Barn and Rubber.
That's how North Florida should always be said. North Florida.
One of the reasons that I like Florida in this tournament so much, I think against Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee, they were 5-1. Like that team, I don't know how you feel about this.
I'm excited.
Zaslow. Because how do you guys feel about this? Because Zaslow, like Udonis Haslem,
that's right,
identifies as a Miami guy.
It's one of the many things we have in common, me and UD.
But has a certain allegiance to Florida when Florida
school there.
starts.
No, I thought you went to Santa Fe.
Oh, stop it. What an embarrassment
Feeder
that you would
school.
say that.
Feeder school.
I went to a university. No offense to anyone who went to Santa Fe, but it's a community college, all right? And for someone who went to a university, and I have a degree, all right? I have a degree from the University of Florida in journalism. To say that I went to community college, I'm sorry, you're offending me.
Business decision.
I went to community college.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. But I have a degree from a university.
So do I.
All right.
So do I. But you went there for your BA after you went for your AA at Santa Fe.
No, I went to the University of Florida. I started at the University of Central Florida, and then transferred, all right, to the University of Florida.
Why would you do that?
Listen. We're getting into my backstory.
Number 2. Speaking of the Florida Gators, Walter Clayton Jr. Incredible guard, can get his own shot like Zaslow mentioned.
He's going to be a good pro.
He's an incredible shot maker, has a great 3-ball, leading probably one of the best teams in the country. Walter Clayton Jr.
I get very excited about the Gators when their basketball team is good.
Well, I noticed this, and you made it about railing against community colleges.
I didn't bring it up. He did.
Dismissed it, though.
No, but the thing that
I think you did it to aggravate me.
The thing that you did is that you deflected from me saying that you're a Miami fan, Miami through and through, right up until the Gators are good at something, and then all of a sudden you're orange and blue.
Well, I'm allowed to. It's my school.
Yeah, but when it comes to football, much like Udonis Haslem, that is just
Canes.
Go Canes.
Yes,
all day.
Canes, because that's what's best for business. I do a podcast called Zaslow Show 2.0. No one who's listening to Zaslow Show 2.0, a very, very minute number of the millions of listeners care about the Florida Gators. A lot of them care about the Miami Hurricanes. And I do a podcast in Miami, not Gainesville. So I need the Hurricanes to do well. That's what's best for business.
Again, though, you identify as a Miami person, and to me it feels wrong to identify as a Miami person and then have this undercurrent of traitorous orange and blue.
But you say I identify as if like I'm choosing. No, I am a Miami person. I'm not. It's not a choice. It's not something I identify with. I am a Miami person.
You publicly
I've lived my whole life
as you are Miami first.
Yeah.
And I don't know that these two things are allowed to coexist.
Why not? I'm from Miami. I've lived here my whole life, except when I went to school at the University of Florida.
Because Miami people hate University of Florida people. That's how that one works. And so you and Udonis Haslem are the rare few that I point to, and I'm like, those are mixed allegiances.
Just be careful what you say about us.
I as someone that is a Hurricane fan that didn't go to the school too, I have the utmost respect for people that went to other schools.
Yeah, how about that?
Still,
I'm an amazing Miami Hurricanes fan. I went to UF and I still root for the Hurricanes.
What I don't like is that you still root for UF when convenient.
Yeah, it's my school.
I know plenty of people that went to FSU that are like they don't root for FSU at all in anything in their Canes through and through.
Well, when my school's good, I show out.
Okay, but that's what I'm objecting to. What I'm objecting to is how bandwagon that is.
That's okay.
Number 1, Cam Jones for Marquette. Probably the number 1 bucket getter of the tournament, Cousy Award finalist, left-handed. And you know when you get that left-handed bucket getter, you can get some different angles, finishing at the hoop, getting different angles in the paint. He does everything for Marquette, leads them in points, assists, second in rebounds, and a guy who can get hot at the right time and carry a team, kind of like Kemba Walker did back in the day. Wow. Cam Jones for Marquette, Shaka Smart and them boys.
Santa Fe Community College really make me angry, man. It's insulting. That's all I'm saying, man. It's insulting.
I could have sworn you went there.
I'm picturing a player that gets hot at the wrong time. It's like he's at home. He's like, shit. Why'd I get hot here?
Yeah.
That guy gets hot at the right time.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, we're in a game right now. Perfect.
Squish.
I wanted to ask you guys, I do not watch and have never watched any reality television. I'm going to have a hard time saying to you guys in my entire history or in the history of reality television, I'll be someone who has trouble naming.
Like you never watched The Real World?
Reality shows. No, I never got into any of that stuff. However, I am interested in something that I feel like the grand majority of people are not interested in, at least in part because they find the subject unlikable. The Alec Baldwin reality show on Max, where they're showing you the innards of his life when his wife presents as Hispanic but isn't Hispanic. They have 7 kids and 6 animals, and he's OCD. So about cleanliness and stuff, that's a bit of a nightmare to have 7 kids, 6 animals, and be OCD about cleanliness. But they're also in his life as all of this stuff happens around him, where he's killed somebody and is headed to trial because on the set a gun went off and he was holding the gun. I have found, I'm only a couple of episodes in, and I've found it interesting, but I think that a lot of people really don't like Alec Baldwin for reasons ranging from arrogance to politics to behavior with the paparazzi and stuff. Doesn't seem to like being famous at this point, but to me, being in that man's life at that time, like really in his life, is interesting viewing. Where are you guys on this? Because I don't think many people are watching it, and when I've brought it up before, no one's interested in talking about it, and I'm not sure why.
Well, I have zero sympathy for the guy that doesn't enjoy being particularly famous when he's doing this reality show right now. Like, you're going to have to miss me on the I don't like all the fame that's surrounding me. But as someone who doesn't do reality TV, why is this the one that you're picking?
I'm interested in Alec Baldwin. I've been interested in Alec Baldwin. I'll tell you why. I read a long profile on him many years ago when I thought of him as a very accomplished actor and a bit of a movie star. And he was saying in the article, with uncommon vulnerability and self-awareness, I've failed as a movie star.
Yeah, because he's not a leading man, right?
Hank Azaria would say that after Birdcage, what famous people get who have a hit movie or show like Jeremy Piven or whatever is you get 3 chances. They'll give you 3 movies, and Hank Azaria chose Mystery Alaska and Godzilla and something else.
Movie.
And then never got to be like the star principal again. Jeremy Piven got this after Entourage, where he got a couple of chances and then didn't get more chances after that. Alec Baldwin was talking about himself as a failure, and the awareness of it made him someone I'm interested in. I bought his biography, and his wild arrogance is also something I'm interested in. But the rest of you just find him not likable. Aaron Rodgers is running into this. These reports yesterday about Aaron Rodgers is having all sorts of trouble getting any media jobs as a possibility as a fallback to retiring because the executives being quoted are calling him insufferable. Like, there's a likability factor that you kind of need if you want people. This is what Scott Van Pelt has, where you're talking about, I enjoy spending time with this person. They have a personality that is likable.
So you say she's not Hispanic but pretends to be Hispanic?
Yeah, she's got an accent and everything. She speaks Spanish,
she's
but
in
it's
Hispanic
not,
face? Like, I don't get it.
She's not Hispanic.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I mean, it's not something you see every day. It's not very common to have someone speaking in a Spanish accent when they're not Hispanic. Like,
Hey friends, it's Jer Bear here, and I'm here to tell you all about Boost Mobile, which is now a legit nationwide 5G network. So I must take a break from the jokes here for a second and put on my serious voice, because I would never, ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There is nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously.
Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds, not available in all areas.